I'm Lana McAra, and welcome to Carb Addict, now Carnivore. And I'm excited today to welcome Chuck to the broadcast. Chuck, give us your YouTube channel.
Hi, everybody. I am Chuck. I am at Low Carb Carnivore is my YouTube channel, or what people refer to me as there, either that or Chuck.
Okay, low carb carnivore, and I'll put that in the description box as well. So everybody go over and subscribe to Chuck's channel. And if you're not subscribed to mine, please like and subscribe. Um, so Chuck, I came across you when you were with someone. I don't even remember where, but you caught my eye, and I thought, your story would be valuable for people to hear. On my channel, we focus on cravings and habits and what to do about things. So, how did you first get interested in carnivore? What was that about?
Well, it was kind of a journey. I was studying weight loss, and because I've been heavy all my life, so I've always been studying nutrition and exercise and uh, different diets and everything. And I was going through YouTube and I came across a video from a lady named Health Coach Kate, and it was entitled uh, like 9 different ways or whatever to see if you're insulin resistant. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. So I started watching and I'm like, yep, I have that. I have that sign. And then so it was like the first time I ever heard that. And then from there, I went on to uh, do more research on insulin resistance. And then I found Dr. Ben Bickman, and I found out a lot, learned a lot about that. And then I found a couple that's on YouTube as well, Keto Connect,
Mhm.
and I watched some of their videos, but became more familiar with keto, and I did keto off and on for a little while, and then, like most of us, stumbled across Dr. Ken Berry, and I found out about carnivore, and I was like, thought it was a little crazy, but I watched a few of his videos, and then what really sold me was the testimonials underneath all those videos of all these people, like, having life-changing experiences with it. And I was like, all right, well, it's worth a try. Nothing else will work this far, so mm, the rest is history, I guess.
How long ago was that?
Roughly, probably about a year or so ago.
Okay, so you've been on, have you been doing carnivore for a year?
No, I did keto for a little while, just kind of playing around with it and just trying out different recipes and everything, and lost a little bit of weight doing keto. And then, kept falling off the wagon because of cravings and addictions and with the food and everything else and schedules and everything. But after a lot of trial and error, I finally got myself to a place, which I'm sure we'll go over, where I'm rock solid now. And check my day counter here. There's a app called a day counter, and it's kept me sane for trying to remember how many days I've been on carnivore. But today is my 95th day on carnivore.
Okay, well, congratulations. You're very close to 100.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, excellent.
Like that's
It's
just going solid. No slip ups, no cheating, no mistakes or anything. Just going
great.
strong.
Yeah, yeah. I just passed the 10-month period for me.
Nice.
I slipped up one time in the first month when I ate sushi, and I got so sick. I never was wanting to cheat again. I was afraid I'd get sick again, which getting sick was the best thing that ever happened to me,
Oh
really.
yeah, I agree. I think that's what uh encased it in stone for me this last time is getting sick, and I was like, yep, never gonna go through that again.
Yeah.
It's not worth cheating or eating the bad stuff, because I figured out after your body has been away from all that bad stuff, because it's like any other drug, realistically, because when your body is away from all that processed food and carbs and sugar, your body no longer has a tolerance to it anymore. And when your tolerance is gone, it's like you're used to eating a pound of poison a day, and then you're off of it for weeks or months or whatever. Your body's not got it out of the system, and then when you have it, it just makes you feel incredibly ill when it never did before, or you never noticed it feeling it, making you feel ill before. So that is a definite thing. Getting sick helped.
Yes, I'm just astounded at how we get so adapted to terrible things. Our body are so adaptive. I took a gray trunk, one of those gray plastic trunks you get at Walmart, and I put all the flour and crackers and stuff in there, and I closed the lid. And I thought, I'll get rid of this one day. Well, it was around for 3 or 4 months. And when I lifted the lid, you know what I smelled? I smelled chemicals. I
Hmm.
didn't smell crackers. I was expecting that I would have, the flour smell or whatever. I smelled chemicals. It was incredible that the sensitivity comes back, when you're away from it for a while. So did you start carnivore for weight loss or for some health issue?
Um, Initially, I started it for weight loss, but I have got a lot of health issues under control from it.
Okay, so
Even
what were
before any weight loss actually started happening regularly,
mhm.
I had experienced some good healing through it too. So
What were some of the things that you have seen improve?
I had a well, I don't know for how rare it is, but it's a very terrible skin condition. Um, it's called HS for short, but it's hidradenitis suppurativa or something like that, and it's basically reoccurring boils.
Oh,
And it's probably was one of the most painful things I've ever had in my life. And
mm,
I went to doctors like for years trying to figure out, what do I do about this? They keep putting me on antibiotics. Nothing seems to work. They just keep coming back and keep coming back. And I tried changing up my diet a little bit, eating more. I mean, what they said was healthy back then. Nothing seemed to work. And I'd say within about 7 months on keto and carnivore, getting rid of all that stuff, even doing it intermittently, it went away and it hasn't been back since.
wow, that's the first I've heard of that condition being helped.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's so many people. I was on forums and everything before, and people were just, pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to get this to go away because it's such a not only painful disease to have, but embarrassing one too. Because you're afraid of like, oh my gosh, if I sit down in this spot or something, if is it gonna bleed out or is someone gonna notice or am I gonna smell or just horrible thing to have for
Mm,
anybody to have to live through.
yeah, yeah. That would be so hard. Was there anything else?
Other things that I've noticed that carnivore specifically has healed, my asthma has improved like tenfold. I don't feel like I breathe as bad or as heavy, but I also did quit smoking, so there is that.
Mm,
But I know that that did help as well. My allergies don't seem nowhere near as bad as they were. I like anytime like back in the past before I was on carnivore, anybody got a cold in my house, especially my son. I was one of the first people to get it, and it would be so severe, just like debilitating bad, because of my asthma and allergies and everything. But since I've been doing carnivore steady, I might get a little sniffle here and there, but that's about it. It's very minuscule. And let me see if I can grab one of them. I we got a little kitten
oh yeah,
or
cute.
two little kittens for my son for his birthday not too long ago. And before I was like incredibly allergic to cats, and I discovered I'm not allergic to cats anymore. It's just the craziest thing. It was just like wow.
Oh,
And then like I don't know. I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's more things that I don't
oh
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
my edema for my legs and my feet. I've noticed, especially in the last couple of months, the swelling has gone down little by little. I can feel them getting a little less swollen every day. So that always is a good thing.
Yes, great. For me, it seemed like the inflammation like came from the floor up. You know, my
Hmm.
legs got better and then it just came up instead of just like being general. It was kind of odd that I saw the improvement in my legs first. Usually your legs is what bothers you last, I thought, but yeah, it was kind of different.
Definitely.
So, what do you find are habits that you no longer do now that you're solid on carnivore?
I am no longer thinking about food as much. And that's recently happened, I'd say, since even before, since I've talked to you last. Um, I don't know, like all of a sudden, like I went from being seeming like I'm ravaging, how do you say that word? Ravenously hungry, like all the time to I cook myself, an omelet and everything, 5 egg omelet with some sausage and stuff on it. And normally I can eat that and still be hungry. And within the last 2 weeks, I'm just surprised at how like fast I'm getting full now. It's like my believe they call it leptin and ghrelin receptors in my body have responded to this way of eating. It's almost like all that nutrition I had to force myself to eat more and have that nutrition to get all that was missing before those signals would wake back up again and tell me, hey, you're full. Because I was just like, I could not believe it. It's like, wow, I only had 2 hamburger patties the other day, and I was like, wow, I could usually do 4 and still be hungry, and now I can barely get through 2 of them,
Yeah.
and that helps out a lot.
Oh, yes.
Feeling hungry all the time, and then when you're not
Yes.
hungry, you don't think about food, and when you're not thinking about you just go on with other aspects of your life and not have to, make food your world anymore.
Yes, don't have to make food your world anymore. That sums it up. I think for all of us, we're before I didn't even realize how much I thought about food. It was just always there. It never wasn't there. Yeah, yeah. So what are some of the new things that you're doing now that you didn't used to do?
As far as like,
Well, habits, new habits that you've started, maybe. We could start there.
well, since I'm eating a lot less now, one of my new habits is I don't normally get hungry till around noon, 1 o'clock, because I'm so easily full now. I'm eating like way less than I ever used to. So like noon, 1 o'clock, I'm got the intermittent fasting going pretty well, and I don't even really start thinking about food. Sometimes I have to look at the clock and go, "Wow, I didn't eat yet. I probably should eat something because I'm getting all wrapped up in other things that I haven't been able to put my mind on much because I was always thinking about food and when's my next meal and
Mm,
when to get this fixed. I'm no longer craving carbs, sugars, any of that stuff. It don't bother me that I don't want it. Not only, I know what it does to me if I have it, but I just absolutely don't want it.
yeah, yeah, that's huge. What about activity? Are you doing any activities now that you weren't doing before?
I try to walk a little bit more and be a little bit more active, but I am a stay-at-home dad and I work at home from like doing graphic art and stuff like that. So
Mm,
kind of always been at my desk, and that was part of the problem before. But
yeah.
now the more weight I lose and everything, because like I have a future goal. When I drop about 100 to 150 pounds, I have a bike in my shed that I bought myself that I hadn't got to ride yet. Because like the Pee Wee Herman style bikes, like the nerd
Mhm.
bikes I call them, with the huge seat and the big wraparound handlebars. I got
Yeah.
myself one of those because I thought, hey, that'd be nice and comfortable to ride. Well, I got it home, got it all together, sat down on it, and the seat bottomed out on the tire. I'm like, oh. I was like, all right, well, no, that's not happening for a while. So I'm hoping to get down so I can be more active and ride around the neighborhood and be outside a little bit more and do some fun stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the best parts of this lifestyle is it gives you the freedom to do things that you weren't able to do before. Yeah.
And the motivation too. That's one thing I've noticed is like being so unhealthy and overweight all my life. I see like, my friends talking or somebody else talking about some celebrity or some other person. Wow, look at how ripped they are and how good in shape they are. Wouldn't you want to do that? It's like, well, I want to be thin, but I don't know about going that far because I know I don't have the motivation to do it. Just like, yeah. And now it's like, man, I can't wait till I get certain things under control. And so I can go and be more active and physical. And now I'm like, I'm more willing to chase that hard stuff that I never thought I'd want to do before. It's
Yes,
like my mind
yes,
has changed.
yes, your mind changes and the activity actually feels good. It's not like
Mhm.
you're stressing and forcing yourself to do something horrible. You want to move and and do things. I have a little trampoline in my living room and it's in the living room because I work at home too at the desk and so I can just walk past the trampoline, jump on it, for 30 seconds and keep on going because rebounding is really good for your lymphatics and all that. But it's right there.
I think that's
And
one thing that's been helping out with my calves and everything. Is like, when someone has like a nervous twitch, they start like bobbing their knee.
oh yeah.
I try to purposely do that just to kind of move, keep the blood flowing and everything, and it helps. It helps.
Yeah.
Especially when I feel my
Right.
legs getting swollen or stiff, I'll start moving them up and down. But now, of course, with two kittens here, they'll start attacking my feet. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I just love the fact of being able to move again. I like to dance and I do Latin dancing like salsa and stuff like that. And man, I could only do maybe two dances, have to sit down, for a while and then do two more and sit down. Um, so, be having more stamina is one of the best things. What about brain fog and
oh yeah, brain fog is gone completely. And it seems like ever since 2020, whenever the COVID started to hit everybody and get it, ever since having COVID back in 2020, I've had this like severe, like out of nowhere, like for instance, I woke up one night in the middle of the night, like in a full on panic mode, and that's not me. I don't get anxiety, or at least not to that degree. In just a panic mode, I'm like wondering, like looking at my wife, like, do I wake up my wife? Do I call somebody? Like I'm like freaking out.
mm,
And ever since then, I've started to get like severe anxiety attacks, and I've noticed that carnivore helps me, be more calm and level, and I don't have nowhere near as much anxiety feelings as I did when that first came around. So that's another plus.
absolutely. I think calmness. I've heard so many people talk about the fact that people who eat this way are calm. They're much
Yeah,
calmer. Yeah. And everybody says everybody's so nice. Well, we're all chilled out.
definitely.
Yeah.
And you always hear the opposite from like stories from people like, oh, he's mad because he ate a bunch of meat or whatever. He's wild, crazy people eat meat and stuff. And it's like, no, I've never been more chill and relaxed, and I don't get as upset quickly for a lot of things. So it's kind of cool. Like just that whole brain fog, just everything lifts
Yeah.
off you just when you're getting all the vitamins and nutrients and minerals and your body is decreasing the amount of inflammation in it. It's kind of crazy how I have never realized, just how sound and how what's the word I'm looking for, like how self-sufficient our bodies are on just doing its own thing and taking care of itself when you give it the right things to put in it. And meat
Yes.
has all of it.
Yes, yes. That we don't need to fix this. This runs really well. We just
Hmm.
have to give it the right food and we'll be fine. Yeah.
I say to people all the time, it's almost like God designed our bodies this way, to eat this
Who'd
way,
have thought?
right? And going to doctors and stuff, and everybody, and nutritionists, and diet gurus, and everything, and they never address the right issue. Because I heard uh, uh, can't remember who it is, but another YouTuber saying in one of his videos, here's one thing that the doctors ask you or never ask you that they should ask you. Because like if your dog or your cat is sick and you bring it into the vet, what's the first thing they ask you? What are they eating? They don't ask that. It's like, well, what did you do, or what's happening, or how are you feeling, and then here's some drugs for it. It's not your diet sucks. Stop eating the garbage and start eating real food.
Hmm.
I mean, some of them said you change your diet, but they always suggested me like high amounts of fiber, vegetables, and to cut down my portions on the stuff like the potatoes and the starchy foods and the pastas. It's like, come on, let's be realistic here. Who's gonna have a half a cup of potatoes? It wasn't me. It sure wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I
just
was a
easier to
big
give it
person.
up rather than to portion it. So,
That brings up another point, which is they tell you to moderate, but what if you can't moderate? What if you keep eating once you start eating? I can't moderate. If I've got a pot of mashed potatoes that I made on the stove, I'm not going to stop eating that. I'm going to keep eating that. So I better not make it at all.
yep.
Have it around. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. There's a few moderators in the carnivore community, but not many. I think most of us are abstainers, definitely. Uh,
Yes.
Especially, I find it easier. Like back before when I first started, especially in the early days of keto and everything, and carnivore. Like if somebody were to eat fast food around me, or I'd have to drive somebody through the drive-through, I'd break down and go, "Oh, just this once." And now it's like, no, I'm good. I'll just I don't know, grab a burger patty when I get home, and it's not a big deal to me anymore. It's it doesn't even bother me. I don't even blink. It's like, yeah, that's fine, because I know how that food makes me feel, and it's a waste of money for me, so I won't spend it on it anymore.
Yes. One of the things that helps me is that I see it as a marketing plan and I'm playing their game by going through the drive-through or picking up whatever. And I just got a little mad. I have to admit it. I got a little mad. And when I thought about giving in, that these people are targeting us, using our brain chemistry against us, I don't want to give them my money.
Yep, that's exactly right. I seen a video with Kelly Hogan in it explaining that how the fast food and the candies and the sugars and everything, they're designed to get you hooked. And it's definitely a drug, and there's no wonder why a lot of people, especially younger people, are so addicted to the sweets and just can't give them up and always are thinking about it. I'm not surprised one bit.
I just last week interviewed a PhD researcher about processed food addiction, which includes carb addiction, sugar addiction. And she said that the tobacco company, Philip Morris, and another one bought up three major food companies, Kraft and General Foods, and one other in the 1980s. And when they bought those food companies in the 1980s, they began to treat food the way they treated cigarettes, to addict people, to make an addictive substance so that people would become so addicted to this food, this fake food, that their profits skyrocketed. That was their goal. So That was a very informative interview. I'm going to put something somewhere for people to listen to that, because she has a PhD and she's been doing this since the 80s. And now, what is that, 30 years she's been researching this? And I've never heard of it. I've never heard that research before, as much as I've been in food, and I've been searching food for a long time and doing research on food. Um, that one isn't up yet. I just recorded it, but her name is Dr. Ifland. So you can find her on my channel. By the time this one comes up, she'll be on there. So yes, it is that those products are a drug delivery system for sugar,
Yeah.
especially sugar, because it goes in the brain like cocaine or one of those drugs. It actually has the same response.
I'm
So
I'm kind of a little convinced that, it's almost like they're trying to kill you with all this. They're trying to at least minimally dumb us down and weaken us up so we can't fight back, you know.
yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yeah.
Strong people are hard to fight.
Right. And thinking people that have
Mhm.
all their clarity in their head and all of that. Absolutely. Yeah. So when you were going through the craving stage, because my channel is about addiction, what was it that helped you come now to being full on? What did you do? How did you change your mindset, or maybe there was some other things you did to get through it?
At first, it was really hard. I'd say the first 2 weeks were that window of time that was just like, I'm feeling that anxiety. If you've ever been a smoker yourself, that anxiety you feel like, oh, you want a cigarette and you just keep thinking about it. It was like that. It was like quitting smoking all over again for having that 2 week period. And then after the 2 week period, gone. Nothing. Just didn't feel it anymore. But like the things I would do to get through those times and through those cravings is I would eat a lot of bacon.
Hmm.
And the other doctor, the eye doctor, carnivore lady, I believe her name is Lisa Wiederman.
Oh, yes, yes.
She had mentioned that if you take, strips of bacon and put a little cream cheese on it, or just cream cheese by itself, even though, don't get me wrong, cheese is not the best thing just to be snacking on and eating, but it's better than falling off the wagon. And a little cream cheese and bacon together, it's like candy. And nowadays, what is my candy? And my family cringes at me every time I do it, but like I'll be making myself some eggs in the morning and I'll take an extra little sliver off for me just to eat. And this the butter, especially when you buy good quality butter, it's so delicious.
Oh, yeah,
It's so fulfilling. It is so good.
absolutely.
Stuff like
Butter
that will
saved
help
my
with the
life.
cravings. Because the
Mhm.
more fat you have when you're having cravings, and the more like uh tasty things, whether it be bacon, steak, or eggs, or whatever your favorite carnivore food is, it's that helps. At least you can make it another day or another hour, or even at first, if it seems like, how am I ever going to lose weight? I'm just eating and I'm hungry all the time, and it's like your body, is getting off that stuff, first of all, and second of all, you're having all these withdrawals and cravings and everything for it. So you want to give in, but given enough time, your body will fall into line and start responding how it was designed to respond. It's like I've been noticing that, like, I kept saying to myself, well, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better. And it eventually, now I can start seeing things slowly. I'm losing a little more weight. Like I said, my legs are going down. I'm feeling more clear headed. I'm starting to notice different things that I didn't notice before. And it was just all that lack of the vitamins and minerals that I wasn't getting from the processed and sugar filled foods that was making me not get anywhere.
Yes, yes. I love that. What you said about just give it a little more time. Just wait. Just give it a little more time. And I hadn't heard that about bacon and cream cheese.
Oh yeah,
That's a
it's
really good
delicious.
idea. Yeah, yeah. I quit eating cream cheese, I think about 5 months in. I just didn't want it anymore. I had it and I would take because I was doing all the substitutions I could to stay on carnivore and get through my, my time as well. And so I would take whole cream, which I was putting in my coffee, whip that up like whipped cream and add some cream cheese to it, and then put in vanilla and salt and then freeze it.
Hmm.
So to me, it was like ice cream. It was carnivore, but it was like ice cream. And that got me through at first, that time. But you know what my best go-to was, and every once in a while I'll still want a little bit, is cold butter.
Yes, cold butter is amazing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
cold
like
butter.
that flavor when it melts and then that salty taste hits and it's just like, oh, it's so
I know.
it's so good. I kept telling my son, just try a little piece, dude. You're missing out. And he's like, no way, I'm not gonna eat that.
Funny story, my sister and I and her friend, three of us, we went to this festival together in July. I had a book table and my sister had a book too. She has a book as well. And we came to sell books. And we were in the hotel room. Well, I always carried a little cooler, just a little cooler like this, with a one of those ice packs and a tub of butter. And I would slice up cold butter and pack it in there and the slices, so I could just open that and pick out a piece, right? And so we got back to the hotel and my sister's like, oh, I just feel so bad and I'm so hungry and all this, and we've been out all day. And I said, well, have a piece of butter. So I, I handed her a piece of butter. I have a slice of butter. And her girlfriend was so like shocked that we would just be eating butter, plain, that she actually took a picture of us and we were both sitting there with a little piece of butter with a bite out of it
That's so funny.
in the picture. But butter is a lifesaver. It
It
is
is.
awesome.
That's why I say quality butter. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, if all you could afford is like the cheap, like Great Value or Land O'Lakes or the 4 pack of butter for it's a better buy, but it's still better than the margarine or the any other of the stuff. But trust me when I say, when you get your hands on some Kerrygold or some nice Kirkland grass-fed butter,
Mm-hmm.
your food tastes different. Everything tastes so much better because it's so natural, so like it's so delicious. It's hard to describe.
Yes, it
Like,
is.
I gave up dairy to try out for the month of September just to see like if it would fix a stall or if it would help me lose any more weight. And didn't really notice any difference with me because I thought that sometimes I get a little like kind of in my throat, and I figured that might help it. No difference. So, and I wasn't really eating a lot of cheese and dairy and stuff anyway because I take Dr. Anthony Chaffee's advice when it comes to dairy. I only
Mhm.
use it as a condiment, so I'll only have cheese or dairy with my eggs and very minimal at that. I limit how much I use, and then after that, I won't eat cheese all like in between meals or whatever. And it's usually only one meal, which is breakfast a day, because that was the hardest thing about giving up dairy for that month was the eggs didn't taste as good. It did not taste as good without the little dab of cream cheese on there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There was somebody that I saw with a cooking, did some cooking, and they put a block of cream cheese in their hamburger.
Hmm.
I've never seen anybody do that before, but yeah, it just adds that little bit of, that extra flavor. Um,
That
but
was one of
eventually,
the first carnivore meals I made was something like that. It's like a carnivore stroganoff.
okay. Yeah, I think I might have tried that. And I think I put heavy cream in there at the end to do that. But yeah, there's so much you can do with meat. With the animal-based products. There's so much that you can do. Has your taste for different dishes changed as you've been going?
A little bit, and sometimes it will change. Like if that's why I try not to have one thing like too often, too like schedulely. Because like sometimes I'll have a omelet, sometimes I'll add sausage, sometimes I'll just have scrambled eggs, sometimes I'll just have a handful of bacon or some pork belly or something different, just try to change it up so I'm not eating the same thing all the time, because I find it, especially with eggs and ground beef in particular, they are so easy to get burnt out on if you eat
Mm,
it every single day for every meal. It
yeah.
is super easy to get burnt out on it. So like one of the going back to that carnivore dish, that stroganoff, when I first made it, because if you ever heard of the poor man stroganoff, it's like noodles, cream of mushroom soup, and a scoop of sour cream, and ground hamburger, ground turkey, or whatever you want to use. And I could make a giant kittle of that and have 3 or 4 bowls myself and still be hungry back in the day. And I was just like, so like, how is this possible? Because I only made a pound of hamburger and split it up between me and my wife. And I added, about a quarter block of cream cheese, a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and then a dollop of sour cream. And I could not finish it.
Oh,
I could
wow.
not finish it. I was so full. It's
Wow.
just, it's like, wow, just you take out the carbs, because the carbs, they're so bad because they keep telling you eat more, eat more, eat more. They work for quick energy. Like if you're a really active, busy person, yeah, a carb might be a good thing to take and quick and have quick energy that your body's going to use right away. But it don't tell you to stop eating it like fat does. When you had too much fat, it's like, yep, I'm full, and your body will let you know when you're full,
Yes.
because you cannot overeat fat.
You
I
just can't
don't
do
think.
it. You can't get any more in. Yep.
I've tried.
Yeah,
I've
I've
tried.
been down that road too, because I was just a habit. I get a bowl, I put a certain amount in it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. You know, oh yes, you are.
I was just telling the wife the other day, I was like, it's kind of funny because before I was always like making dinner, because uh, she works as a chef at a nursing home and everything. So, I take that off her. So when she comes home, she don't have to cook. So I'm sitting there, and every other time I'm cooking, I'm like, man, is this going to be enough? Am I still going to be hungry? Is this going to be enough to fill me? Now I find myself looking at it and go, oh, shoot, did I make too much? It's just so funny how your mindset changes, like once you cross that hurdle of not being so hungry all the time.
Yes, yes. And I think you made such a good point. If you eat enough fat, then you don't want anything else. And the cravings are gone. You just you could walk past anything you want to walk past and just look at it and go, mm-mm.
So
I'm
yeah,
not
that's
in for
good.
that. Yeah, yeah. So what do you see going forward? Are you going to stick with this? You feel like this is it, or is this something you're going to, you know, phase out eventually?
No, this is definitely my new lifestyle. I mean, it's so easy and simplistic. I feel great. Even before I started seeing the benefits or feeling the benefits from eating this way, I felt great. Like within the first week or two, I felt the brain fog lifting, and I felt a little bit more energized, and I just felt like more like steady than I had before on the carbs and everything. Because like when you eat a bunch of carbs and sugars or processed foods and everything, you just kind of feel gross, like you know,
Mm.
not necessarily sick, but just lethargic, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but if you've been there, then you know.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
now
That's that
after
blah.
eating all this and everything, I feel great. I keep eating this way, and now I'm not like a completely strict carnivore. I do throw a little bit of veggies in my dishes from time to time to mix things up and to make things, a little tastier. For example, one of the dishes I make with ground beef is I take some beef bouillon, or not bouillon, but like beef broth, and put it in with that, and then I put in that steam bag of what do you call it, the cauliflower,
Hmm.
and add that in there, and then add maybe a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream to it, and then season it with salt, pepper, and garlic. I still use normal seasonings. I don't go over, but I try not to do any nightshades because I think that was one of my things that gave me the HS before.
Mm.
But it makes a nice, delicious soup, and it's nice and filling because it's got the fat from the heavy whipping cream in it, the fat from the hamburger. So it's nice and filling. Then the cauliflower kind of gives you that old potato feel, kind of, you know how
Hmm.
you're eating a soup or whatever, you get that kind of mouthfeel with the potatoes and everything. And it's nice to have, but I don't have it every day. It's like every once in a while, maybe once a week, if that.
Hmm. How does your family, how does it work with your family? Are any of your family eating this way, or is it just you?
My wife tries whatever I cook, my wife will eat. So if she eats the same way I do, unfortunately for her right now, until she finds a way around it, like I said before, she works as a manager at a nursing home as a kitchen manager. So she's having to cook and be around food all day, and she kind of gets stuck having to taste test her food. And so, when she can, I just tell her, hey, you're thin, you're not the one with the health problems and everything. I know you like and enjoy eating this way too, because I mean, she lost a little bit of weight on it, and she feels much better on it too. She wants to be on it full time, but her job kind of gets in the way sometimes because having to taste test food and everything. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, she does it, and then my son, I think he's almost there, but it's I don't think he's quite convinced yet. He still wants the candy and the sweets and the sugar because he has the opposite problem than me. He's like really thin and slender and everything. He's wanting to put on muscle and weight, and I keep telling him, hey, it works the other way around too, man. You could put on some muscle. I keep telling him, like, in 30 days, if you were to do carnivore just even for 30 days, you would gain on some muscle and you'd be looking fantastic and feeling amazing. And then you'd want to do another 30 days because of how good you feel.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. It's like, I figured, well, okay, well, 30 days. Yeah, that ain't gonna hurt. I'll do 30 days. And if I don't like it, well, then I tried and I can go back. But after you do those 30 days, you're like, huh, I wonder what 30 more days would be like.
Yeah.
And well, I'm feeling really good. I wonder what's gonna happen in a year from now,
Yeah.
Because in only, I think, well, roughly, yeah, 3, 6, 9, 3 months time doing this at my highest weight ever, I went from 444 pounds, and I weighed myself this morning. I'm down to 409. So
Wow.
I was happy to see that because I only do a weigh-in every month,
Hmm.
just so I'm not driving myself crazy thinking about numbers.
Yeah, that's a good idea because you can get emotionally, in a spin getting on the scales too often.
Definitely. And that's one thing to definitely tell yourself, like for people who are out there or they're trying this, even if it's keto. And I mean, realistically, carnivore is a healing diet. It's made to heal your body and everything. And if you want to add a little bit of veggies or, stuff and everything, as long as it don't bother you. But I say that initial 30 to 90 days, try going as strict carnivore as you can. But I kind of lost my train of thought. I was hopping all over there.
It's a healing diet. It
Yeah, it's
heals
a
you
it's a
in many
healing diet, but when you keep going through it, like you just keep telling yourself, okay, I didn't get this heavy, I didn't get this sick overnight. It didn't happen in 3 months. I didn't get this sick and gain all this weight and get the boils or the inflammation and the swelling legs. That didn't happen in 3 months either. That
ways.
took several years for my body to get to that point. Now I owe it to myself at least to give myself a full year doing carnivore. And or even a ketogenic lifestyle, because it's all great. And you owe it to yourself. Give yourself some time, man. Because there's this quote I heard, and it's so true. Because it says like when you hear stuff at the right times, everything's like you're supposed to hear it. And it was at around the time where I was struggling, thinking, man, see all these other people and they're lost this weight, and this person's only been on it a month and they've already lost a bunch of weight. It's like, man, what am I gonna get to, And then I've heard this quote. It says, every journey has its end. Don't rush. It's like, that's true. Just enjoy it. Take it one day at a time.
Yes.
And another time, and then next thing you'll know, it'll be a month. Next thing you know, it'll be 2 months. And then you'll start noticing little changes. And then when I went back and looked at one of my first videos that I did for my intro, and I was looking at it, and I looked back at my son, I was like, hey, do I look different from than I look now? He was like, wow, yeah, you actually do. I could see it. You look different. So, give yourself some time, man. It's gonna be a lifestyle. If it's a lifestyle, treat it as a lifestyle. It's not gonna be a quick fix. Don't get me wrong, our bodies are amazing. They can bounce back from all the damage we did in a fraction of the time than it took to put us there, which is amazing in itself. But it's going to take some time. Some of us are sicker than others. Some of us have more wrong than others, especially if you're like me. Like, I was extremely obese, had a lot of health problems and a lot of things. It's going to take time to heal all that. And once you start healing, the weight will, slowly start coming off. You start getting stronger and better. And then if you don't give up and you keep going through it, it's only going to get better. Because, I've never heard someone being on the carnivore diet 10 years and go, well, it was great for the first year. Now I hate it. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Everybody's still raving about it, after all this time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, there's no way I don't miss, like, some people ask me, well, don't you miss candy? Well, don't you miss sweets? It's like, no, it's like asking me, don't you miss being sick? Don't you miss being depressed? Don't you miss this? No, I don't miss that. Sorry, you can have it. I won't take that no more. I'm perfectly fine living the life that I'm living now, and that's why I know I'll be doing this till I'm an old and gray man. Well, I'm kind of already a little gray, but till I'm an older, grayer man.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I can, because I absolutely love this. I mean, I can understand, because that's one reason why I wanted the weight loss. I mean, just besides for my health, because I know how good this diet is, or this lifestyle, I should say, and I want to tell people about it. Just like when I first came to Christ, you want to tell people about it and reach people and go out to people. But if you go to people and you're trying to reach people for Christ and you're still a drug addict, it don't look very good. Just like, I'm still a heavy guy and I'm still working on myself. And I see other people in my same position that I was in, and still kind of in. And I want to tell them, hey, this thing I found, you should really check it out. But, I'll get there.
Yes.
And eventually, I'm going to get a shirt or even put it on a sweatshirt when I go out of a before and after picture, and ask me how I did it. And
Yeah.
people would be like, no way. Meat? Oh, meat, really? Wow. It's like, yeah, it
Yeah.
really works.
Yeah. Yeah. It really works. It works. If you just bear with it and give it time and do some things to help yourself through those moments. And one of the things that I really love about what you said is you're all in. You're all in. And what I've seen, with watching people on their videos and watching the comments, when you're not all in, you're always putting yourself in like misery, like you're making those decisions over and over and over. Am I going to eat that? Am I not? Am I going to do that? Am I not? But when you're all in, you make that decision and it's done.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of that. People, I think, I don't know, don't get me wrong. It's, a start's a start. And even if it's a rocky start, it's still a start.
Yeah.
And just try your hardest. Like, and if, like, oh, shoot, I was at work and I had that candy bar because I was hungry. Well, then get by it. Just don't think about it. It happened. It's done. It's over with. Your very next meal, have it be something good. Just because you mess up doesn't mean it's over with and you have to start binging on that stuff. Sometimes, like for my experience, I have went off plan like a little bit here and there, like for my excuse me, like my son's birthday. And I took him out on his birthday. We drove out to go pick up the cats when we first got him. He was like, "Hey, ice cream sounds good." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I had one with him. Not that big of a deal. I ate regular again that night. So it's like, I don't overstress and overthink things and overdo it, because if you focus way too much on that, you're going to keep falling off, and then you're going to feel bad and everything. Just keep going, and you're making mistakes. But like, I could say from the beginning, like, once you start on this, like, pick a date, pick a time, plan your stuff out, and be absolutely sure that you're going to be giving this stuff up. And even if you have to wait another week or whatever to get yourself mentally motivated to do whatever you have to do to put steps or guides or ideas or tricks or whatever you want to call it in place to prevent yourself from stumbling, because it's going to happen. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall, but that's not the thing. It's, you could fall 100 times, but you have to get up 101. You keep going, and eventually you will get through it. And heaven forbid something bad happens to where you get sick and you have like a bad wake up call, like I did. I had 10 teeth pulled on the bottom, and I was just like in my pain and everything, and I couldn't think of any carnivore meals I could drink with a straw or like eat with a spoon or whatever. So I figured, okay, well, while my teeth are healing up, I'll have some mashed potatoes and some ice cream and some this and that. Well, I got so sick and backed up and constipated after only 3 days of healing, of eating that way. And I was like, never again. I'm never doing this again. That cured me for life. Having to feel as sick as I was, it's like, I never want to experience this again.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I just have, a little bite of something that I'm not supposed to, that's fine. But this will not be my lifestyle anymore. Carnivore is my lifestyle. And, along the way, for birthdays, Christmases, or whatever. But when I would highly suggest, when you're in that starting out period, before you like or feel rock solid with, yeah, I don't want that, or I don't need that, or I don't feel no cravings for that, I would probably be a good idea to stay away from anything, like
Yeah.
like on the holidays, like we do holidays different than we ever did, because it was always green bean casserole, potatoes, loading up on the carbs with a meat at the center. Now it's like, hey, let's go get a really nice steak and some shrimp, or
Yeah.
something good, and that'll be our Christmas dinner or our Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
It's, you just keep going, and it will eventually happen. Things, you'll change, your mind will change, your body will change, and eventually you will stop craving those bad foods.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get out of your system, because that's one thing that, I don't know, you could probably relate to this. Like, every time I did cheat or go on a week-long bender of eating bad and everything, is the whole time you're sitting there thinking about cheating and thinking about having that cheat meal or cheat drink or anything, you're thinking, oh man, this sounds so good, and oh, this is going to be so good. But you know what? It's not. Every single time that I had a cheat meal, or I went out and grabbed a burger from a burger joint or something and ate the things that I used to like eating, it did not taste as good as I remembered it. Nowhere near as good. So it's like, yeah, it's just a trick. No, it's just my body is craving it, and I don't really want it. It don't really taste as good as I think it does. It's all in your head. And you go eat the stuff that really tastes good, like a good hunk of butter or a good fat steak, or like one of my favorite things is pork belly. Oh man, pork belly with some salt on it, cooked in the air fryer. I could eat that all day long.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
not really, but I'd get full. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can remember. of the day I made that decision, that I am not going to eat carbs again, I cried because it was so emotional for me. That had been my eating starch and potatoes, especially, had been my crutch, my emotional crutch for many, many years. And to think that I would never eat it again. I mean, it was a sad day for me. But at the same time, I knew that if I kept going the way I was going, then my future wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be. And I had to make that choice. So, it's not like we minimize the seriousness of it, but yet now, man, am I happy I did.
Hmm.
Feel so much better. My life is transformed. Uh, it's just amazing. Just getting through those difficult that first month or two. Really, once you get through that, it's not so bad for most people. Some people continue to struggle.
Sometimes it takes a little time. I mean,
Yeah.
overall length, about a year or so, give or take, going through this whole ketogenic process. I wouldn't even want to say keto or carnivore, one or the other, because I've done a little bit of both. But just going through this whole ketogenic process, it's a process. Give yourself time. You're not going to know everything. You will get to know a lot of things, but you're still not going to know everything. And it takes time to learn, the ins and outs of it. You're going to make some mistakes. There's going to be some bumps along the way, but just keep going, keep plowing through. You will eventually get there. And once you get to that spot where you're just like, yep, this is my life now. And I'm perfectly fine with it. Not with the old dad, like you're sitting there eating a raw carrot going, this is my life now. But now I'm just sitting here with a big smile on my face about to eat a nice, delicious piece of meat going, yeah, this is my life now. It's how and how you say it and what you're doing. This is definitely a lifestyle I can handle, because that was like always one thing, like it was so hard. It's like, well, what am I gonna eat? It was like when I heard the word diet, it's like I started like going instant panic mode. What am I gonna eat? Well, what can I have? Well, what can I have? Oh, how am I gonna live without that? And it's like, just chill, man. There are so many good, delicious meats. If I was ever asked to give up meats, I'd be like, nope, sorry, I can't do it. That's one thing I know I can never give up is meat, because it's too essential. The carbs and most of the vegetables and stuff that I no longer eat, that was not a problem. Even the sugar and everything, it, nothing tastes better than a nice salty fat piece of meat.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. I'm so glad we did this. Is there anything you'd like to say, before we sign off?
I don't know. I feel like I've said a lot already. I kind of have that gift of gab that I could talk forever, especially when it's about something I'm passionate about. But I would just say, do your research. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. It's out there. The truth is out there. There's tons of testimonials. And I mean, 90 days out of your entire life, what's it going to hurt? Like the Dr. Berry says, do the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge. Even just, I mean, even beyond that challenge, even if you still want to eat chicken, heck, even if you want to, have other types of meat besides that, just cut out the carbs, cut out the sugar, and give yourself 30 days. See how you feel. And trust me, you're going to feel a lot better than you did. And then you're going to be like, what about 60 days? I suppose I'll keep going. I'll give it a little try. Then you're going to be like, wow, I keep feeling better and better and better. This is amazing, and it'll all be history. And then you'll be like, wow. And then you'll be telling somebody else about it, and they'll learn about it. And then the cycle continues,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Chuck, thank you so much for being with us today.